Hey everyone, it is September 29th, 2019, and welcome to another Brooklyn Baritone podcast. Thank you everyone for joining me here today. I hope that you are enjoying life, or hope that you are looking to enjoy your life more and make more of it, because that is what I'm going to be talking about today. And yes, that is something that can be easily be talked about for 24 hours out of every day, and you never tire or never have a shortage of things to talk about. But I'm going to try and compact that in this time allotted for me for my podcast. As usual, I start off with a definition, as if life can just be defined in simple terms, but it kind of sort of can. Then we're going to expand on it somewhat. Life. Definition. The condition that distinguishes animals and plants from inorganic matter, including the capacity for growth, reproduction, functional activity, and continual change preceding death. The second part of that definition is the existence of an individual human being or animal, basically, or even plant life. In a nutshell, that's what it is. In really simple terms. You want to super simplify it, but then there's so much nuances in between. Every day, every second, and sometimes, every second could seem like a minute, depending on what situation you are in, externally or even internally. I like the part of the definition where it talks about the capacity for growth, reproduction, functional activity, and continual change. This, of course, doesn't just apply to our physical being. This applies to every facet of our lives. This corresponds with our ability to grow emotionally, to grow spiritually, to grow mentally, because we have the opportunity to learn something new every day and apply these things that we learn as well. Because we go off of what we know, but then we're still supposed to be open enough to take in more things to help grow us and help grow others as well. So that's so many different levels, and you have the other additional nuances where professionally and financially you can grow, and have your impacts magnified or multiplied by the people that you're around and what type of mindset you have to go forward and make the most of your life. Life is super important, and this is why we do this. This is why I'm doing this here. You talk about things that affect us, that can improve ourselves, things I've gone through that I know have improved me, and I'm still going forward trying to improve myself. But it's also all about life. In the past, I've said two of the most important things we have is life and time. It's basically it. We got to learn how to manage and optimize what we have right now, how we got it. All right. Of course, I'm going to start off with looking at not just life, but what gives life a little bit more value is the counterpart to life, which is death. Don't mean like to be a Debbie Downer, but it is what it is. It's a part of life. And we are plagued by a lot of things that bring about death. Let's get that out in the clear. Because of our condition that we're in, people say it's broken condition. Not saying that we can't have any kind of joy and that we can't have any fulfillment, because we look again to find out our true value and the value of others and the value of our time and everything else around us. So we also have to make sure that before it's our time to go to sleep, we look to make the most of it, make an impact, because it's just more than it's us being born, doing some things in life, and then dying and turn to dust, and in the end, dust your hands off, because it's people who pretty much kind of resign themselves to that mindset where we basically come from nothing. So we're just going to go back to nothing, the end. And that right there, and that requires an insane amount of faith to actually think that, to believe that, to live like that. Am I knocking anybody for it? No, everyone has their reasons. And at the same time, you have to understand, like, if you have no value in life, because that's basically what it's doing, is simplifying life to having no value. Why bother to get up and do anything anyways? Why bother even go to pursue? You could say make the most of this life, but why? if you think you're just going to go in the dust and that's it. There's more. There's much more while we're here, and even after we're here, we still have an impact if we move properly with our lives. But going back to the counterpart of life, which is death, and we're plagued by a lot of factors. A lot of these factors, it causes untimely deaths that we live with, we experience. Either we personally know, have gone through, or to know someone who has gone through someone who's gone through an untimely death. Factors that cause their time to be cut short, and even also take away their opportunities to have an optimal life, a fulfilled life, or even a joyful life. Things where it's like, certain lifestyles and habits, traditions that we have, it doesn't do us any justice. The way we eat, certain things we do. There's a lot of things that we do that do cut our lives short. We still can live, yes, but we could probably live much better and much longer lives. And, and we look at these factors because it's based on everything being governed by laws. Everything that exists in the world that we know is based on laws. There's a certain type of order. And when you have a specific order for certain things to run a certain way, once you deviate, you can still have some functionality, but it's not to the optimal performance or the optimal level, which we know it can be. I like using the analogy of a car. You could put rubbing alcohol, you could probably put moonshine in the gas tank or whatever. It's still a combustible element for your combustible engine to turn over and go forward when you press the accelerator. But how long is that engine going to survive? How long is that car going to go? How quick is going to burn out with that, gasoline substitute? The same thing, it requires a specific type of motor oil, but I have some Crisco. I'm going to pour that in. It's oil, right? And it's not the same type of oil. It doesn't have the same type of properties. So you may get some functionality, but as opposed to having a car possibly 20 years in good shape, it's going to last you maybe a year at best, 2 years at best. So that's a quick analogy of like what we do, the things that we practice, the things that we do. It shortens our opportunity to live a longer and more fulfilled life. Yes, it's linked to diet. A lot of it, so much of what we do that causes us these untimely deaths is linked to diet. Also the type of lifestyle, other things that we consume and ingest, not just physically, but spiritually and mentally as well. Our environments, the people we're around, what we hold internally and what we practice every day. It's, again, a lot of things that we do we're comfortable with. It deviates from the natural order of things, how things are supposed to be done. We kind of do our own thing, and it's a consequence. It's a consequence of not following a certain order of things, and it's an order. Yes, the law's in place. Yes, it's not fair. A lot of things aren't fair because there's so much things that we're basically inherited. A lot of us inherit, things that are passed on to us. The type of family we live in, things that our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, forefathers have done. It can still impact us through genealogy, the way we look and everything, but also other things as well that's underneath the surface. Conditions that we live in, the financial, spiritual, emotional, those things can be conditions that we are raised in. We didn't have a choice in the matter. It's just part of the broken world. And yeah, I understand it's not fair because, I'm going to go into some of these little details too that at least help make people enjoy life and respect life a lot more, because we know there's death out there. There's things that causes these things. There's things that cause misery and pain. And I know it does allow us at least a little bit to enjoy life a little bit more. Those who are strong enough to look past the current situation or even bad or dire situations. I know personally, it's easy to say like it's a part of life. Life goes on. It's just a consequence of how we live. But I'm not saying this from a callous place in my heart because I lost one of my siblings years ago. And we were really close. And, and up to this day, it was a medical condition. And up to now, it's like, not totally clear as to like, why. We know something was wrong, but not totally why, he expired. And there are times that, there's a void there. It's a void because, it's life. Life is so important. Life is so impactful. Even though if you just met somebody that one time, that could be a super impactful moment. So imagine being close to someone, used to hearing someone, used to having someone's presence there, used to having someone's help there, So once that life is gone, they're sleeping, you're going to feel that absence. I feel it too. My members of my family, we feel it too. And there's times where, I am, get a little choked up about it. Yeah, I move on. I haven't been depressed over that. And I do remember, of course, all the memories and everything and to go forward. But, many times you wish that, like, why? When you want this person to be here, to enjoy life with you, so they can celebrate your life, you can celebrate their life, But again, it's just a consequence, unfortunately, of this existence that we're in right now. And we have to look at the factors which do bring about untimely death and misery and suffering. And we have to really tackle these things. We can't just go on living like, YOLO. No, because a lot of things that people are YOLO about, it brings even more suffering, brings more misery. Cut your life short where you could have been living possibly very healthy too, to like into your 90s. You're now, in your 60s suffering, in your 50s suffering. People are suffering in their 40s, because of certain conditions that were again inherited and a lot of people, they actually bring these things upon themselves, either unknowingly or it's just like, okay, I could have did better, but it is what it is. A lot of people have aches and pains. People's bodies are run down a lot more than it should be. And again, we go into diseases as well. Well, I'm going to go kind of briefly into some diseases. So I have a couple of statistics here. In the United States here, we have this is from 2017, about 647,000 people that die from heart disease. And heart disease is, a lot of things can impact, diet, of course. Many people attribute that to fatty foods, red meat, and to the quality and the amount of red meat as well. Stress, most definitely, lack of exercise. So these things cause a lot more, different strains and different factors to come about for our heart to not be the way it's supposed to be. And unfortunately, that's like the number one thing that kills Americans. And globally, that's like, it's over 9 million people who are killed by heart disease, So it's not just something constrained to this, us here in the United States, but globally, it's like over 9 million people annually, just about, And and the word killed is accurate because killed is like when, some factor causes an accelerated time of demise, basically. So things that we eat, things that we do, it could be through, unfortunately, violent acts against someone else, an accident or a mishap. These things kill people. Because when most people think about growing old, living a fulfilled life, pursuing their dreams, building themselves, building other people around them, enjoying their family and their friends and anybody else they could affect. Many people want to be, well into their 90s, even hundreds, and their family's at peace with them, okay, they lived a really, really full life. They're in their bed. They're about to pass and they're smiling because they feel content. Their loved ones are around them. They're taken care of. And then, you close your eyes and go to sleep and peaceful. Some people, they're blessed to go out like that. And that should be the way to go to sleep for it to be all finished. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that. And when it happens with diseases, happens with violent accidents, you feel cheated. When you feel cheated because you're robbed of a part of life that you know is good for your growth, that you're used to. That person is just ripped away from you, and that void is there. Not to cheapen it, but it's like you go to your favorite restaurant and you get your favorite meal, and you love this meal. You love it. You have it as much as you possibly can, but you're like 4 bites in, and then the plate just falls on the floor, smash. And I'm sorry, we don't have any more. That's it. Or while you're chewing, someone has come take the plate away, and that's it. You're like, what's going on? But why? So life is way more, of course, important and more at a higher magnitude than a meal. But, just to get the gist, it's like that's how it feels. But it's so much more deeper than that, because you feel slightly like, hey, where's my food? So imagine all those emotional ties, intellectual ties, spiritual ties, memories you have of people, the way you resonate with those people in your life is now, gone. But you have to go forward with the positive things that you've learned. Even if it was a negative experience, you now know what to do or what to stay away from. And it's positive, at least you have more bolstering of enjoying life going forward. You have to remember the good side of life, not just look at the misery that we have right now because of the conditions we're in right now, and not just look at how many people in our lives, we all know someone who's been gone too early, too soon. I also have another statistic here. The second highest in America of people who are killed by something is cancer. As 600,000 people die from cancer every year. And, cancer is basically like a free radical cell. It doesn't follow the natural order of your body, because everything in and on your body has a purpose. Cancer cells doesn't have a purpose. Only purpose is to grow. It's not to help your lungs take in air better, help your heart beat faster. If that was the case, that people would love it. But not the case. It just takes resources that are needed from your other organs to live properly. And the longer it stays, the bigger it gets, the more resources, the more life force it takes from you. And it does damage as it's there. And again, a lot of it's caused by environment and even diet and lifestyle. Some people have other factors, but a lot of that can deal with getting rid of heart disease and cancer. It takes away so much people from us. It kills people so much. It ends life. It disrupts life. We're trying to our best every day to get past this. And I understand we have marches and everything, but it has to go deeper than just having a march. You have to, get educated on proper life, eat properly, live properly, be more active, be more positive, be more outgoing, be more forthcoming in yourself, invest in yourself, build yourself properly. Healthy mind, healthy spirit, healthy body. All of these things are a trifecta that you need to follow. Many people, they're ripped up, the great, fantastic models, terrible mind, terrible spirit. So it's not just about going to the gym and looking nice and fabulous for IG. You got to do it for yourself and have everything in place. Okay. The last statistic that I'm talking about here is suicide. In America, 47,000 people die or killed by suicide. And it's very sad because there's a lot of people that don't value themselves. And I'm not saying it in a derogatory term, because they never understood their own value and they couldn't get past of what they were feeling. They saw no other way out, which is very important to build yourself. Know yourself, know what's inside of you, because even when you get through rough patches, even though if a relationship ends, Father forbid even a marriage ends, this is hard, yes, but you have that foundation in you where it hurts, but you keep going forward. So much of our brothers and sisters out there, they are unaware of that. They might not be getting the help they need. They may still think so little of themselves, and that's the problem, because in the socio-economic structure and culture, it's very easy for any one of us to feel like we're left by the wayside. Oh, you owe a bunch of bills? Well, that's your fault because you should be more financially responsible. Oh, you don't have a house by now? Well, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong. Then, you got to, get your weight up and stuff like that. Oh, you're not slim enough? You don't look thick enough to fill them jeans out like them other girls look? You don't feel valuable enough. You just are in a dead-end job and you just seem lost or whatever. There's so much factors in this culture that push you and mash you down. Meanwhile, everybody else, most of the people have gone through or are going through probably the same issues you're going through too. The problem is so much people, we're not communal in the way we need to. Everyone is like kind of out for themselves. So kind of people, they kind of retreat into their own corner and they stay there. And they think that they're not strong enough. They're not as outgoing as that person, or this person over there, they have so much going for their lives over here. This person here, they have it all together. Oh, they're so pretty. They're so good looking. They're so popular. Whatever it is, they have a fat bank account. Man, they're younger than me and they have $2 million and they got 3 houses. What am I doing wrong? You just got to understand who you are and build yourself. You are so much more precious out there for anyone who's feeling like that, who's listening to this, man. Everyone should hear this every day. You're so much more important. You're so much more important than what you feel or what you understand. You're not the only one going through what you're going through. I've been depressed too. And I didn't even know I was depressed, But I have the mindset of things that I wanted to do. So much things that I wanted to do. And I'm a veteran. I am a United States Air Force veteran. And I work among many other veterans that work with veterans as well. And I thought about doing a podcast about, my brothers and sisters in arms currently serving and who have served, about vets killing. And there's a lot of vets who post that they can't go on anymore. And I think, it's more than just veterans, because it's like, less than 10% of the population that actually served in the country. But then, it goes past that. It's so much for people who again, because of this culture, because of how we have structured things, we lose value in life. And it's very sad. This is something that's always going to have to be like a part 2 and a part 3 for this topic. But I want to tackle the things that demean and diminish what we're supposed to be. So much people feel so less of themselves because they don't look a certain way, don't have enough in their bank account, not driving a certain car, not living in a certain home or a certain place, or not in a certain place career-wise. Don't look at anyone else. You have to look for you, okay? I'll never, ever deny the fact that we come from a creator. People call him God. It's Elohim and Yeshua, HaMashiach. Jesus Christ, the Messiah. I don't want to be just sounding cliche because God and Jesus have been thrown around so much, it kind of lost its value, unfortunately. It lost its value with when you talk about these entities in our life. You have to know the Creator where you came from, because that's where our identity comes from. From order, ultimate order. When you have order, things run smoothly the way it's supposed to be. But on top of that, there's love. Love of everything, love of yourself. That supersedes everything. So with that order and love, you will find value in yourself. Once you go to the Creator, you find your identity. That is the source of our identity. All of us, regardless of what you believe or think of what path you've walked, that is our source of identity. Then once you know that, you will know yourself. You will see life much better. Even through all the rough patches, we're all going to say, why me? Many times I'm not that strong, but I have to go through. There's other people around me. If I happen to take my own life, so much people will be affected. If you take your life, so much people will be affected. And it'll be heartbreaking, and some people may not even be able to recover from that, So yes, try not to be selfish. Try to look past outside of you. Look outside of what you're going through right now, because life is just more than any negative thing you're going through right now. Life is so much more. Look at the bigger picture. You have to enjoy life. We're surrounded by death, but we can control that as much as we possibly can. Enjoy it. Make an impact in all that you do. Impact yourself. Impress yourself. Compete with yourself. Then the best you will come out. You will no longer retreat to your own corner, but you're going to come out and engage with everything and everyone around you and say, I am here. I'm here. I may not be on the biggest blockbuster smash hit in the summer in all the movie theaters. I may not have billions of dollars, but for everyone who can see me, who can hear me, hell, who can even smell me, they gonna know that I'm here. You're worth more than so much than you realize. Life is important. It is priceless. Well, I'm signing off. Thank you for listening. This has been another beautiful podcast, and I pray unto you that you enjoy your life. Be fulfilled. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. If you don't know what to enjoy, what to start with, you could always hit me up if you're listening. Send someone, if you know, my way to hit me up. All my contact information is on my website at www.brooklynbaritone.com. You could also hit me up. Look for me on my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone. Leave a comment, subscribe, please. I'm also on iTunes and Google Play. Thank you for listening, everyone. As usual, I love you. Stay blessed. Walk good. You'll hear from me next week.